Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
Would it be so bad if an 84-year-old got into heroin?
Welcome to the Cat Organizational Podcast.
You idiot. It's written down in front of you idiot.
This is like the buffalo chicken wrap of answers.
I haven't heard about hot orcs in a while.
We were so horny for motion controls in 2005.
I can't wait to come back and tell you how it was Noah's Ark, you asshole.
I would also like to retroactively say I've never had cotton candy acid.
So Andrew's 100% doing a voice, right?
Everybody get off IMDb now. Time to record.
This episode and probably this whole podcast is a mistake. Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and Todd's sweet dumper.
All right, wait.
Todd's sweet fat ass.
So, what even started this in the Discord? Tom, the friend of the show, Tom Zlatni, had asked which of us had the juiciest booty, and the response was that I've been doing squats for the better half of a decade. And so here we are talking about my sweet dumper.
I like that quote from Tommy Boy. That Todd Thomas is one hot piece of ass.
Well, Butt Thwomp Nation, it's been a year, hasn't it?
Have we talked about this year at all?
Have we mentioned that it's 2020? We've survived the better part of a pandemic, and we've learned more than we've ever wanted to about Guy Fieri together, and came out stronger on the other side because of it.
We also learned it was Guy Fieri.
Came out stronger and still unable to pronounce his last name right.
Yeah, I'm never going to get that right. So we haven't hid the fact that COVID and quarantine derailed an otherwise well-planned year of conventions and casting semi-famous actors as unknown superheroes. But I'm going to drop a little bit of honesty on you all. We've tapped our idea banks. We looked in the tanks for one last topic to regale you with before 2020 blows away like an unwelcome fart in the wind. But there just wasn't anything there. But luckily for us, you all answered the call when we needed you most, and helped us come up with one last morsel of content before the new year.
Hooray!
Thanks, everyone.
We lit the proverbial skies with the proverbial butt thwomp signal and asked you to send us questions for our very first mailbag episode.
I know we need to talk about the mailbag episode thing, but what is the official butt flop signal that we light the sky with? Like, is it just a light of Todd's sweet dumper?
I think it is, yeah.
I think it is now. If it wasn't before, it is now.
I was thinking it was an outline of Yoshi from the least flattering angle, but
yes,
whatever.
That's what I had in mind when I typed that sentence out.
Get on it, fan artist. It's Todd's sweet dumper. Yeah, welcome to a mailbag. It was either this or a clip show, so here you go.
And Matt and I didn't want to edit a clip show together, so we're doing a mailbag episode. So today I am joined by Todd, Cliff Clavin Thomas, Matt, Mr. McFeely Cole, and Andrew Newman Henderson. And we're going to set aside our differences to answer some questions from our constituents.
Cliff Clavin's definitely the postman from Cheers, is that right?
Yes, these are three famous mailmen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize Newman was the postman. I guess he's kind of blocked that out. Yeah.
He's not like the postman. Like that's just his career. He's not like.
He's not defined by his work.
Yeah, he's not defined. He's not like Mr. McFeely, where he only exists to deliver the mail. He's just a character who also happens to be a mailman.
He's not like the soup Nazi who's known as their profession first.
Yes, who does not have a name.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we put out on social media asking for questions from our listeners. We got a lot of great responses. I've divvied them up into a few broad categories here. And the first one, a lot of you wanted us to talk about how we make the podcast and how the sausage gets made, to steal the term from Todd, who likes to say it so much. So we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit, talk about our process for the show. Our first question comes from Tommy, or Whomstradamus, if you are in our Patreon Discord. And he asks, what do each of you do to prepare for the debate?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get us started. Aside from the brainstorming that goes in for some of our episodes, which is literally just we have a running Excel spreadsheet that is weird ideas that come to you in the middle of the day, and you throw them on the spreadsheet, and you think, man, that would be really funny to talk about.
And then when someone else likes it, they move it to like the master schedule, and it's like, all right, we're doing it now.
Yeah, usually at the end of our recording session, we say, "Hey, I added a bunch to the last or to the recording list." The way that at least I prepare, and I think a lot of us do, is you either have an idea of what you want to do, and you start Googling to see what all hits as far as YouTube responses or Wikipedia, or and maybe Matt or Andrew, who are especially guilty of this, having the punchline set up and then reverse engineering backwards.
Yeah.
But at least for me, I usually have, I think of the prompt, I think what's wild or fun or something that I know, and then I try and work from there. And so I just try to absorb as much Wikipedia and YouTube as I can in like an hour or two, and then I kind of brainstorm from there.
Yeah, most of my prep for the episode depends a lot on which person I am to put my answer in our Google Doc. Because I think we've said before that like we have a master Google Doc for each episode that serves as our show notes. And if I go in there and I'm the first person to put my answer in, I'll typically close that Google Doc and come back to it another day. But if I'm the last person, then a lot of it is like trying to pick the right answer and then figuring out how that builds in to the typical formula of there's the right answer, the fun answer, and the wild card answer, or like the right answer, the cool answer, and the wild card answer. And it's not that I aim to be one of those things. It's just figuring out what angle of the debate am I gonna be taking. And yeah, sometimes like Todd said, I come in with an idea of like, all right, this is 100%. I've wanted to talk about this superhero for a while, or I really feel like this is the answer to this question that I want to hang my hat on. And then sometimes it's Googling like, I don't know, horniest Marvel superhero or something of the like, and scrolling through until you find one that you're like, that's not real. I think I talked about in the episode of best super villain to have, or best superhero to have in a zombie apocalypse. That sounds like a thing that we did. When I was like, all right, the answer that I want to go with is necromancy. Now I'm going to Google Marvel heroes with necromancy and scroll until I find the wildest one.
Yeah, in a similar fashion, it's one of two things happens. It's I know the punchline and I have to get there, or I have decided that I'm going to talk about this one thing at all costs, and I have to figure out how to make it work. And we brought up, just much like the Triforce, those roles that the right answer, the wild card answer, and the obvious answer, those are all roles that we do not choose. Those are chosen for us.
Yes.
And somebody always has to be Ganon. It's just the way it works.
Someone always is Ganon.
Yeah, it usually happens if you're the third person to put kind of your selection into our notes document. You have been slotted into what your fate is that day. It's usually not, the other two put really good answers, I'll also put a very good answer. It's usually, no. That's my free pass to go wild, baby.
Yeah, my prep depends on whether an answer immediately comes to me or not. And if it immediately comes to me, I put my answers right in the Google Doc almost as soon as it goes up. And if it doesn't immediately come to me, I wait until about 2 hours before recording time and throw that Hail Mary play and just like pick something I can answer at least two of the questions about, and then find the way to make it the wildest I can.
We call that the Guitar Hero religion prep strategy.
Okay, I put a lot of work into that. I wanted to tag on to the end of this too. Like, there are two kinds of episode prep for me, and it's episodes where it's like, all right, I'm clearly gonna make up everything that I talk about today. Yep. And then episodes of like, I need to cite as many sources as I can, and deciding which gameplay I'm going to pick for that debate really depends on how I prep. Because there are some things where it's like, all right, day one, I claim my answer to the first question and say, this is what I'm doing. and then everything else is pretty off the cuff. And then there are other ones where it's like, I've got to click every blue link in this Wikipedia page until I have every citation I could ever need in a doctoral dissertation defense.
The difference for me on those, because I do a very similar thing, is if it's a topic I pretend to know a lot about, then I make sure I do all my research and get everything 100% right. But if Andrew is moderating a like Metal Gear Solid episode, it's the first one that looks cool. Like,
Yeah.
and we're winging it the rest of the way.
Do you guys want to do another Metal Gear Solid episode?
Keep them coming, because that is a deep well we have only just scratched the surface of.
In prep for this mailbag, doing some of the research, I had to listen to parts of different episodes. And that was the one where he talked about the spirit of the Baltimore Ravens is to win. And I tried to sign all three of you up for Raven facts.
Yep. I never got those Raven facts.
No, I'm going to guess that got caught in the spam filter.
So Todd, that leads us very well into our next question, which was asked by a few of our listeners, so no one gets credit for this. Who has won the most episodes of Debate This?
Boy, so we were talking off air. I went through and combed every episode to find every winner of the 70 episodes that we have done as of recording.
Which we've never done. We've never done this.
We've never counted this.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we should have just put another column in?
Yeah.
We didn't.
In our
And
spreadsheet.
so, yeah. So now it exists.
So Andrew's got the like full breakdown.
Yeah.
But Todd, who has by the numbers actually won the most? Shown up and won the most.
So we'll go bottom to top here. So first off, which is worth noting, out of the 70 episodes we've recorded, we had our very first pilot episode. There were no winners, just all four of us yelling at each other. We have had multiple guests on episodes, and typically guests show up and make us look foolish over the source material. So out of our episodes, we have had 9 that have been won by guests. So guests get honorable mention. Going up from there, Kyle has won 13. I have won 14. And then Andrew has won 16, and Matt is our reigning champion, having won 17 total games.
It's such horseshit.
I knew it was stacked against me, because me and Andrew have shown up for the most episodes here, and I'm at the least winning.
If you're gonna do that Matt missed 1, Andrew I think also missed 1, and I missed 2 because I was in New Zealand.
I at least get the perfect attendance award.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
Upon hearing this, dear listeners, I put on my statistician's hat and I threw all this data into a pivot table, and because I wanted to answer the question that Kyle just posed, which is, okay, but what if you're like Kyle and have just modded more episodes? You don't get a chance to win. So, in calculating what I'm calling the kill to death ratio, our wins are a little closer together, or our percentages are a little bit closer together. So, if you're counting up episodes that each one of us has modded, it's myself and Matt 16, Kyle coming in at 22, and then Todd a meager 14. So Todd only consumes.
I'm also part of this.
Yeah. Our kill to death ratio is Matt at 33% KD, Andrew 31% KD, Kyle is 28% KD, and Todd a middling 26% KD.
Well, I didn't share this off air because I wanted this to be caught live. So I did some further calculations of winning streaks. And so I think that's important. So coming into 2019, if you listen to, it's about episode 44 or 45, Andrew wins and makes the exclamation, "That's a streak, baby." And it was. Andrew, out of all of us, has had the most consecutive wins. He had 4 straight wins, episodes 43 through 46. And it's worth noting, he also won episode 41, and 42 was a guest episode. So Andrew likely could have had a 6-game win, but a guest came in and made us look foolish.
2019 was a lot better for me than this year.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really fun to point out here
is our guests always win.
Yeah, our guests are likely win. Not always.
One
Not
exception.
always.
One
Two.
exception.
There are 2 exceptions.
There's a couple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've listened. I listened through all these. And so the other thing that I think is fun is that what are our losing droughts, right? Who's gone the longest without winning? because that's a
who
fun
is,
statistic.
Who is the Pittsburgh Pirates of this podcast?
Well, we have all at any point in time had either a 9 or 10 episode losing streak. All of us. Every last one of us. In fact, Andrew was the first one to go 10 episodes without winning.
Do you want to know why? Because that was when I started slipping into the real wild card role.
Andrew was like, I've won enough. I'll start going easy on him.
After not winning, starting at episode 23 until 33, you won because you brought the werehog to an episode, and that was the episode where you broke that.
As I turned it around. I don't think 2 other people in this entire world would get this joke, but it's like much like my bowl. I bowl like I get straight, gutter ball, strike, gutter ball, gutter ball, gutter ball. It's only tens and zeros here.
I think I probably had the most shameful bout. Almost. I guess there's a loser here, but I had a pretty terrible one where I won episode 29, didn't win again until 39, and then didn't win again until 50. I went 21 episodes, only winning 3.
Damn.
However,
I would have guessed I had a good losing streak, but
Andrew had a 14 game drought, which is worth noting. Episodes 54 through 68, and Kyle, my friend, you had a 16 game drought. Episodes 40 through 56.
Dang.
So
there it is.
And listening through bits and pieces of all of our episodes gave me just a fun, just like clip show of my own that I get to keep for myself. One of the quotes was Todd Explosives and Biceps Party, which is my new political affiliation, in case anyone's curious now.
Todd is the president of the Explosives and Biceps Party, actually.
But yeah, we have now logged all this data, and we can give you yearly updates. We don't have to go through and comb that ever again.
Yeah. What do you guys think the loser is going to have to do or say, or like we gotta have like somebody at the end of the year, whoever loses the most
has to do something shameful.
Yeah.
Well, we could easily come up with something that whenever we go to PRGE every year, assuming that we go back, they have to. Maybe the other 3 get to decide what shirt they have to wear at the table.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Like that.
There we go.
If I get, and maybe the winner decides what the loser wears, because if I win, you all are wearing Malo shirts.
If those even exist, I doubt those exist.
Todd will make them.
If I win, all y'all are you just have to play Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, God. I thought that was forbidden in the Geneva Convention.
So we will move on. This question comes from my brother Derek D Harps in our Patreon chat. What is the episode topic discussion process like, and how much do you know about each other's responses going in?
Cool. Well, I'll talk a little bit about picking episode topics, and then I'll let one of you guys take the second half. So this is something that definitely has evolved over time as we've created the formula or the format of Debate This. And I tell this to a lot of people, anyone who's talked to me and be like, what is it like starting a podcast? And like, I'm interested in getting into that. And, we took the approach of just record something, figure it out. It will all kind of come later. And anybody who's maybe come in a little later, like in this year or late last year, we have a whole half a year's backlog where the show was very different than the way it is now, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
And similar to Todd going the exercise of trying to go through those original episodes. And we had an episode 3 where we did a lot of experimentation, and believe it or not, that the robot bean apocalypse, the stupid mean bean machine, that for a long time was the kind of the North Star of our formula. I was like, okay, well, we really like that. I think we're gonna go toward this. And then until we did Yoshi, that was like another one where it was like,
I was gonna say we have like these episodes that chart like, I really liked that. Let's do that more often.
Mm-hmm.
And that Yoshi, what colors is the best Yoshi was that first one for me. That was like, oh, that's what I want the show to be.
That's what the show is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're still, that still changes all the time, I'll cite the Ocarina Schmockarina episode 3 was definitely kind of an older relic of the original pitch for the show, which was like a this or that. It was like, we're going to do, is it going to be Mario or Sonic? Is it Ocarina Time or Majora's Mask? It was that kind of thing. And again, very different concept than where we've ended up today. actually, and not to like toot my own horn here, but if any listeners of the show, you may remember Kyle's friend Zach, who runs Around the Monitor. I wrote a video for him a couple months ago, and it talks about the actual like the process of making decisions, and a lot of that is quite honestly like exactly the process behind how we make episodes, which is, we try to think of parameters to establish, and usually kind of breaks down in one or two categories. It's okay, I want to talk about a thing, let's say Metal Gear Solid. From that thing, I'm gonna have a finite list of choices. So in that case, Metal Gear Solid bosses. So which Metal Gear Solid boss XYZ? What Metal Gear Solid boss would be fun at a barbecue? Like whatever the fuck. Like enter hypothetical situation.
Then there's the other category, which is like, we're getting this chocolate into this peanut butter. Yep. What's the best combination of chocolate and peanut butter? Which are like our put a what was it, a Metal Gear Solid boss into Super Smash Bros? Was that?
Yeah, exactly. And those tend to be a little more loosey goosey.
Yeah.
You can kind of come in and be a little freeform. Those are definitely allow themselves for more like wild card answers, Wes Anderson screen treatments, if you will.
Yes.
But yeah, we've kind of established that we like having a little bit of both and try to, go between those two different ideas. Always trying to come back to our North Star, which is we'll continue to start the year with a what color Yoshi is best type of episode.
That's
which
the
we
energy
do have
we
one
look
coming
for.
up.
That's definitely our like, this is our guidepost. We want to hit this mark every time, but we got to hit it the first time to get it there. Like, and we got a good one for 2021, right? We got 2021's picked.
We do, yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and I'll finish that out with the how much do you know about each other's responses going in. And this really ties back to the first question we talked about with how do you prepare. We have this Google Doc, and there's a common agreement that you put at least the outline of your answer in so that nobody's saying the same thing over and over again. And it didn't start that way. I don't remember which episodes it was, but I think in that first 10, we had a couple where it's like either we all were talking about the same thing, or I remember specifically when we did the make your own RPG team, and I managed to bring 4 characters from 4 games that nobody knew about but me. And so it sort of became like, you need to at least put something in there so we all know what we're talking about and can come with some sort of like understanding. But everybody does it a little differently. I think Kyle, Todd, and Andrew will all often put answers into the Google Doc and then write out more of their answer in their own separate document. Kyle's shaking his head, so maybe it's not so much that.
I do that.
I put my answers in and then just kind of wing it once we get in there. But my answer's there, so I can like make sure I'm not wandering too far from my compass.
Yeah.
I type mine out, and then I just usually put in the first paragraph because I very rarely actually get through everything that I write out because I usually write out a lot.
God.
Yeah.
You have more than the screenplay you read us?
Yeah, which is awesome because Andrew also always has the longest answer.
Yeah. And then I typically will put in like I like to write like I'm writing for a sitcom, which I never will be, but I like to write out at least some punchline that I can make my way to, and then I just wing it and fill it in from there. So it really depends episode to episode and how much prep time we all have. But going in, there is at least a concept of knowledge of the outline of what people have. Typically, it's question 1. Typically, we all know the answer to question 1. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Yep. Basically.
So our next question comes from Andrew's wife. Jess asks, how many hours does it take to edit each episode? Which only a couple of us can answer that. And I'll kick it over to Matt first, who does the first half of editing. And then I finish it up.
Yeah, so I content edit, and it takes a really long time. Our show is heavily edited, not in the sense that we're like putting things in that aren't there, just that the 4 of us are all really good friends, and we laugh and joke, and sometimes space needs to be taken out. And then also we record the show remotely, and so there's a lot of syncing work that needs to be done and just cutting out spaces where we all talk over each other. So it's not heavily edited in the sense of we're making a show that we didn't actually make. It's just heavily cleaned up. But typically it takes me about an hour to edit 20 minutes of content. So whatever the length of the episode is, typically multiply it by 3, and that's about how long it takes.
Yeah, and then I do the post-production, mastering, etc. At the beginning, it took me about an hour to an hour and a half to like fine-tune all the parts, get the intro synced up right, the break, the closing credits. I scrub through and listen for our cold open. So at the beginning, that process took me an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how good the audio came in that week. And now I've got it down to about 15 minutes at my fastest, to about half hour, 45 minutes, maybe a little longer if someone didn't catch they weren't recording through their microphone or something. But
that was one time. That was one time.
It's more than one time.
It's
not just Andrew. Like,
it's telling that Andrew was so quick to make comment over that.
But yeah, like there was, I think through all of October and November, I pounded them out in like 15 minutes because that's how long I remembered half an hour before our stream started Monday night and didn't want to do it after the stream. So
we've been doing this show for almost 4 years, and I still have no clue what the fuck Kyle does with our show.
I make it pretty.
He does.
All right. So this comes again from D Harps. Which debate this ! Headquarters creation would each good boy most like to actually see funded?
Can I go first?
You can.
So my answers are very, very simple. If we can't have, so in episode 59, we talked about NPCs that we wanted to see, in Paper Mario, the Origami King, Origami Prince, whatever it was. If we can't have a good version of Paper Mario on the Switch, because we obviously didn't, I would like that. My backup is definitely a throwback to episode 69. I would like to see the dating sim of Mark Davis's Pro Bass Challenge, looking to get hooked. What a catch, or whatever I called it. Boy, that episode got so wild and so much fun that I'd want that.
I just opened up my podcast app to scroll through the episodes because I was like, man, that's an open-ended question. And then I didn't have to scroll too far and got to let the Kabatis hit the floor. And I want a backyard Kabatis game more than I want anything else we've ever talked about.
Backyard Kabatis is good.
Didn't we see that something was coming out?
There's a Kabati documentary.
I thought it was an anime. It's a
an
Kabati
anime.
It's an anime. Yeah, there's a Kabati anime coming out. It looks fucking rad as hell. Sports animes are like the hidden gem of the anime world. Like they're almost all good.
Every episode is the tournament arc. Like
exactly. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best kind of anime that exists. So I mentioned it earlier because it was on my mind, but man, I very much want a Wes Anderson coming of age movie about the adventures of Wario and Waluigi, as referenced in episode 30, 2 Baldwin's Deep.
Nintendo's original Dirty Boys.
Yeah. Man, there's like I said earlier, I mean, there's a lot of episodes where I write a lot of content, but I had like a legitimate screen treatment. Like I spent all day writing that screen treatment, and there was so much to that episode that I just did not read. Maybe sometime we'll do.
That'll be an extra Patreon level.
Yeah. You have to pay us to not hear it.
If we get enough patrons, we'll just let Andrew ramble on all his screen treatments, and you'll get them.
We do our flavor text, but if you give us $50, Andrew will just do the screenplay for you.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
We'll all read his different parts.
Yeah.
So mine is definitely just any time we've cast Rami Malek in anything. I want that. I want Rami Malek in all of our weird movies and or shows and or games.
We haven't talked about him in a while.
Wonder if he thinks about us.
Yeah.
Like we think about
an okay
him.
Pandemic.
So then our last question from our behind the curtain topic comes from patron Nathan LV, and he says, "We call ourselves nerds, and supposedly the premise of our podcast is to debate nerd things, but we never discuss the real issues. There's never been an episode about whether the Enterprise could take on an Imperial Star Destroyer. No discussions of the pros and cons of Kirk versus Picard. What are we hiding? What dark secrets is Big Nerd paying us to suppress?" However you want to answer that, guys, go ahead, and I'll wrap it up.
I would like to just jump in and say that if Big Nerd was paying us anything, I know at least 3 of the 4 of us would quit our jobs immediately.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Big Nerd's not paying a shit.
No, we don't even know Matt Mercer.
I was gonna say, is this where we joke where where Half-Life 3 actually did come out, and then they decided that we as a society didn't deserve it, so they're like, nah. That's what Big Nerd is keeping us from sharing.
That's what it is we're hiding Half-Life 3 from you all. Mm-hmm. No, we decided early on we wanted to stick to comic books and video games. Back in 2017, 2017, when we were like conceptualizing this. Star Wars podcasts were big. Star Trek wasn't necessarily in a great place with releases. And we all, I'm a Star Wars nerd, but like it's not my favorite topic to dive in on because someone always tries to talk over you for it. And we just really wanted to like not cast a wide net on all nerd topics ever and stick to comic books and video games.
Yeah. And I think the last piece of that too is when we first started and pitched this show, there was a agreement that we didn't want to be another Can Goku Beat Superman podcast. Yes. That we wanted to keep it light and comical and very much answer the questions that no one is asking. That being said, I do love Star Trek, and the Enterprise could not take on an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Absolutely not.
The Enterprise is a research vessel, right? And then an Imperial Star Destroyer is an Imperial military vessel. So obviously the Star Destroyer is going to win.
Yeah, you need to have the Force or at least 3 movies of plot armor to take on an Imperial Star Destroyer.
I'm glad that we still got the answer out there, though.
Real quick, in order, Kirk or Picard? Just to satiate Nathan here.
I guess Kirk.
Loaded question if you're asking me the actor or the captain, but I'll lean to Kirk.
Okay. I'm a Picard man myself.
I love the Star Trek movies so goddamn much. And so my answer is like an ironic Kirk. Because I love unhinged Kirk in like Star Trek 4.
That's just like, fair.
Oh, Wales! Like it's just like he doesn't know what's happening. Yeah.
All right. So that's all the questions we got on like how we make the show, why we answer the questions we do, how we answer them. So the next field of questions you asked was about us in particular. What are our interests? What do we do? Et cetera, et cetera. So in our Meet the Debaters section, our first question comes from Master Spectre in the that's his username in our Discord at least. And how did we all meet each other? And I know we've told this story a few times, but if someone wants to sum it up real quick, go for it.
Yeah. So the simplest way to say this, we all went to the same university. Andrew and I were in the same year. So Andrew had been a student there, and then I transferred there. We met each other through marching band because we are just mega nerds on different levels.
Yep.
Got to be friends through marching band and playing Halo 3. Ultimately, Andrew was in a fraternity. I joined his fraternity. A year later, Kyle joined the fraternity. And then 2 years
10 years later, Matt joined.
Yeah, so Andrew and I had graduated, and I believe, Matt, you came in right as we had graduated. And then Matt joined the fraternity, and we all, got to know each other, similar interests, obviously. Yeah, so that's kind of how we all go back. We were all friends in different various levels throughout the year. Like, Andrew had moved across the country. I moved a different corner of the country. We had both moved back to Columbus. Kyle had moved out to Colorado, and we got to talking, and we thought this dumb show would be a good idea. And 3 years going
Here
into
we
a
are
fourth
4 years later.
going into
Holy
a fourth
shit,
season, and it's one
Wild.
of the most fun, weird things that I think I do that I don't immediately share with my coworkers, but slowly give them. So yeah, it's been a blast. I mean, if you have, close friends and you have a cool topic and you want to do a cool thing, then like podcasting is a fun thing to do. But I'd also say that it wasn't just us four to get on the microphones and bullshit with one another. Like we didn't want to just have a thing that we talked at each other. We wanted to have kind of a show that we did that had a purpose and had like a market. And so I say all that by saying that, we have a goal when we record, and it's not just to get on and bullshit with our friends. It's to actually have a target demographic and try and get a good piece of content out. Basically, if every white guy in his 30s is doing a podcast, so don't be that other guy.
Yeah, have a topic, have a focus. It's always good. Matt, were you in marching band?
Yep.
I'm the only non-marching band member of Debate This.
We'll teach you the handshake later, Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle, you're also the only one that was in college with all of us. So you are the
That is true.
linchpin to this
That's
franchise.
true.
I am the glue that holds this podcast together.
I mean, this is actually absolutely true.
Our next question comes from friend of the show, Tom Zalatni.
You
Tom
know him.
Zalatni
You love him.
in the Discord. And this is a very simple. What food do you associate strongest with home?
I see you, Tom, fishing for episode ideas. I see you.
If you're not reading between the lines,
Always grinding.
Tom, they run actually a very good podcast up for discussion. Probably one of my favorite
definitely
podcasts.
Listen to it.
Up for not to shill for Tom's podcast on our show, but it's just very good, easy listening. And Matt's been on it a couple times lately. They talk about food, and it's very good. Anyway,
if you've ever wanted to hear a grown man speak passionately about mac and cheese, boy howdy, have I got a piece
Can
of
Matt
content
speak
for you.
about mac and cheese?
Holy shit!
some wet ass pasta.
It's so entertaining to hear Matt talk about junk food. Like it's something I never knew that I needed so much.
What do you got, Todd? What food do you associate
I
with
grew
home?
up. I grew up in Northwest Ohio, where the strongest season we use is salt in a little bit. So I would say the food I associate with home is honestly, it's just dirty bar pizza. We've got a bar in Cary, Ohio. It is filthy. It's the kind of bar they still smoke in, even though they shouldn't. And the pizza is just, it's real thick, real greasy, real cheesy, real saucy pizza. It's just a lot
Really
of
gets
adjectives.
you, really
pizza.
gets you right in the gut.
And I just want to eat that pizza and take a nap.
Yeah, I could say any number of the crazy, shitty Western Pennsylvania things that I grew up eating, but to be just the slightest bit sentimental, my dad, on nights that my mom wasn't around, because she was at work or whatever, and it was just my dad and I eating dinner, he would always make the same thing, and it was steakums and eggs sandwiches, and with A1 sauce on toast. And
oh hell yeah!
Right.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. So fried steakums and typically like fried eggs on toast with A1 sauce very much brings me back to the nostalgia pit.
I love that. My answer, it might sound weird, but I'm going to say buttered egg noodles, and I'm going to tell you why. So my grandmother, my mom's mom, grew up in the Depression. She was of the silent generation, and she did a lot of those Depression era things. One of which is like buttered egg noodles was just like a meal that people had.
Yep.
So that's just something that she would make when I was a kid, and I would stay at my grandma's house all the time when I was little, and would be there like a couple days a week before school and everything. So that was like her signature dish. So yeah, I don't know why, like it just kind of one of those things that just like unlocks in your brain. But when I read that question earlier, I was like, it just immediately like buttered egg noodles popped into my head. And every time I have not like tried to make those as an adult, but I always like I pass it in the food in the aisle, and I always like for a second I'm like I should make buttered noodles, but like I'm not gonna make buttered noodles.
Yeah. And mine, I am a Cincinnati boy who's not in Cincinnati anymore. Skyline Chili. Skyline Chili is my like
the unofficial sponsor of Debate This.
The unofficial sponsor of Debate This. My family just sent me like a Cincinnati care package, and it didn't make it 3 hours in my home before I tore into that can of Skyline chili that was in it. So
Kyle went to the mailbox with a can opener and a spoon.
yeah. So yeah, Skyline chili. Our next question, once again, comes from Jess, Andrew's wife, who I think is building a case against him in this one.
Yeah,
she knew the answer to this question. So
yeah, she definitely knows the answer to this before she asked it. Who has clocked the most hours in any game ever?
It's got to be. Well, I know Matt's Pokemon Pinball is up there.
Matt's Pokemon Pinball's up there,
but that hasn't been like consistent.
Yeah,
if
the way, sorry to cut you off, Kyle, the way I read this question was like, in our whole lives, in all the games, who has played the most games? And I think without a doubt, the answer to that question is Andrew.
I think it is also Andrew.
It's 100% me. And I'll tell you that I looked at my playtime for just Final Fantasy 14, a game I've been playing since 2013, and the number is 58. It's not 58 hours. It's 58 days worth of game time.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I haven't like calculated hours in a long time. And I know that like the Switch will tell you, and I can't remember what like I put it on Hades. I just think back to the very first game I put an immense amount of time into, and that was Phantasy Star Online when I hit 200 hours, and I realized that was, like 8 straight days of playing, and I was like, that's a lot to put into a game. And now you've said the number you've said.
That's a number that I said. I will remind you, I have been playing, it is a massively multiplayer online RPG that I've been playing since 2013.
Yeah, but
however,
like, would that
change? Is 1,400 hours.
Yeah, would that change if you said like 2010? Would it change if you said like 20? Like, would that make the number a lot better? Because I don't think it would.
I mean, look, we had Aya on our show who literally told us that she has been gunning for the same achievement for the last 8 years.
True.
That's true.
That's fair.
That's just how these games work.
I know I've deleted at least 10 500 plus hour Pokemon files, but I don't think I still don't think I come close to Andrew.
I think I win it mostly just because of the games. It's because of the games that I play, because I play a lot of JRPGs that are just like Persona 5 is 120 hours, Final Fantasy 10 is 100 hours. Like, it just each one of those is triple digits.
I mean, there was a good 10 years where like my Game Boy was just on and in my hand at all times.
Yeah.
Which makes me think I'm close, but I don't have the facts to back that up.
Let me ask that question in one more way, just to maybe get a slightly varied answer. What is the first game that you put your 1,000 hours into? Like, what was your first game that you dumped? I guess I think it's like 30 days is about 1,000 hours or something like that. Mine's Guitar Hero 2. I'm not proud of that, but it's definitely Guitar Hero 2.
Yeah,
it's Melee for me.
Yeah, I was going to say Melee as well.
Melee, and then Halo 3 is a second there.
Yeah,
those are I think two of the first games that like my video game playing for a long time, and even now, is pretty social. I don't play a lot of like one player games other than Hades. Shout out to Hades, robbed of Game of the Year. I think that is probably my first 1,000 hour game. Melee, a lot.
Yeah. All right. So our next question comes from friend of the show, Carl Winsick. Who of the four of us would win in a fight?
It's Matt, right? Like, we all agree it's Matt.
Matt's a beefy boy. Matt, you're thick.
I don't want to say it's me because that feels really braggadocious, but I feel like it's me.
I'll say this. I pick up the weights a lot. And it's what I do to deal with life. It's all
vanity muscles, though.
But so one, yes.
Show muscles.
One, yes. Two, in my adult life, I've never thrown a punch. I've never
Todd, you're a show horse. You're on the showroom floor. Matt's in there. He's pulling the wagons.
Yeah. I might be out there like I'm the prancy dancing horse, whereas Matt's actually hauling the plow out in the field.
Yeah. I think the best thing that I can say is that my physical frame has been hauling around Todd's PR for the last 10 years. So I'll just leave that on the table.
Matt's the horse that pulls my carriage that I am in to the show.
Then when the cameras show up, they strap Todd onto the carriage, but Matt pulled it there.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will say asterisk, if it is kicking only, then it's a different story.
I'm mostly lower body strength. as we talked about my dumps earlier in this show.
Yes.
My dumps.
My lovely lady dumps.
It wasn't in the recording, so I guess we'll say it here now. I was talking to my wife because we're in a pandemic, and I was saying how my pants don't fit right anymore, and it's not my waistline, but I've just done a lot less like running and just a lot more working out, and I ripped my pants at the gym the other day because I squatted a bit too deep.
Those tree trunk thighs of his.
They're there. I have trouble buying jeans.
Can we go to the next question, please?
That's for you, the podcast listeners.
Yeah, we'll save everyone from imagining Todd's sweet dumper and go on to the next question. Coming to us again from Master Spectre. What is one good thing that happened to you this year?
I'll start. My wife and I went to New Zealand in January for her cousin's wedding, and it was actually a very, very cool experience. I get that like international travel is expensive and it's not something everyone can do, and it's not something we can even do right now. But if you ever have the opportunity to go to New Zealand, go. It was so cool. South Island is way cooler than North Island. Unfortunately, while we were there, they announced that coronavirus was a thing. And so then
you really got it right.
We
under
just
the wire.
missed it. Yeah, like if we would have been a month later, we would have been stuck there. Which actually would have the joke we've been making for a while would have been great to stay there. But that was a super, super cool experience. Also, far less involved. We just recently adopted a dog, and Willie is delightful.
Willie is delightful.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone gets to meet Willie because Willie is
She's
a
great.
Good boy.
She's a girl. She's a girl
Good
dog.
girl.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. That's what I said.
Yeah. Also, in January, and talking about a wedding, I have myself and then my 4 best friends from my hometown are really the only friends from like high school and my childhood that I have left. And the first of the 5 of us got married in January, and I got to go back home for the wedding. And it was the first time since college that all 5 of us had been in the same place at the same time. It was also the first time ever that all 5 of our significant others, who are like all long-term partners at this point, had met each other. And so it was like the full family reunion for the first time ever. And
nice.
Yeah, it is the only joy of 2020 that I'm still holding on to 12 months later. And I think all 5 of us often joke and say that 2020 began and ended with Nicole's wedding. So again, congratulations to you, Nicole and Kevin, because that wedding could have been yesterday, and I believe you.
Right.
I'll say personally, I bought a house this year, which was a great experience, but also something I never thought I would do. Because my wife and I were always we were going to be renters for life, living downtown, and then a pandemic happened where it stripped us of our ability to walk to work and go out to eat and go places. So we did what most people in the burbs did, and we got a house. We were fortunate, and we were able to get one close in town in a really nice area, and it was kind of on the like upswing before a lot of the craziness. And for those of you not in Columbus, Ohio, the market is insane, and everyone's buying a house this year, and it's a whole thing. Professionally, and I. Well, not professionally, because like fuck careers, but podcast wise, and I'm not. This is not just for me. Like I'll speak on everyone's behalf. We started a Patreon this year, and it was something that we had talked about doing for a long time, and we weren't really sure, how to go about it, and like would people even want to do it. But as of this recording, we've got 20 people who are willing to pay us for more of this, and those of you that are listening, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, it's every day. It's just an amazing feeling.
We got to do stuff like Forbegorf and the Office Drones.
Yeah,
our Guy Fieri episode.
Oh my God, you said it right. Hell yeah, Kyle.
I did it.
I struggled real hard
Batting
to get that
500
right out the first time, Matt.
And so I'll say specifically for me, being able to build the Office Drones world and turn that like stupid one-off thing into a Dungeons and Dragons campaign has been so much fun, and just an awesome way to like flex my own creative muscles. And I started editing those episodes, so trying to get into that. So just some personal growth for me, which has been really great.
And as far as my year, I got to quit Starbucks, which was a big goal of mine this year. I got
Hooray.
to do lead sound design on my first 4 shows now because the theater I work for stripped its budget and I was the guy that was there and got to do it. So I got a lot of great experience doing that, and did sound design for some great shows. And yeah, it's been 2020 for me. It was a lot more audio work that I was trying to get done. So I got there. I need to pee. So I'm gonna, leading the show, I'm gonna say it's time for a pee break. And everyone go take a pee break.
All right, that's your official break, everybody.
Do we want to record a different break, or is that?
No, that's
fuck
it
it.
now.
Is that
that's
the sausage is made?
Hey everyone, sorry if you were expecting the Wii Shop music. Lucky for you, there are like 1,500 covers on YouTube and Spotify and wherever else you stream music. I'm here today to tell you that we would like to fill this slot with something other than the Wii Shop music. We've sort of reached the point with this podcast that we would really love to take on a sponsor or two. And we're not looking for your quips or your lawnmowers or your purple mattresses, although I would very much like at least 2 of those 3 things. I'll let you decide which 2. We are looking for indie creators in the nerd space just like us. We're not trying to get rich off this show. We just want to help spread indie nerd culture around the globe. So if you are someone who makes dice, if you are an artist who takes commissions, if you have a video game or nerd or comic related brand, we would love to run an ad for you on the show. We've put together some sponsorship packages, and we've made sure to keep the price point low enough that people like us would be able to afford it. So if you have any interest in advertising with us, or you know someone who might, shoot us an email and get in touch at debatethiscast@gmail.com.
We are back. We're just going to keep moving right along. We've got our next very popular category for questions here, which I lumped them all together as our shitty opinions. You guys asked us what we like.
For some reason.
Yeah, which I guess is good because that's what the podcast is. So keep listening, and we'll take it right away off the top from patron in the Discord as Zach Hicks. What is your favorite video game?
I mean, this is going directly against what Zach Hicks has said, but Super Mario RPG. I'm going to call you out right here, Zach. Here we are. That is my favorite game of all time. And boy, howdy, what I would do to actually have a true to form sequel to Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Keep dreaming, Todd. It'll happen someday.
Man, yeah, I guess. And I know, like, they've done whatever. We did a whole episode. I don't need to say anything else.
Yeah, that's a hard question because I've played a lot of really random games and I don't have like super strong attachments to games myself. I have a lot of like strong attachments to games I've played with friends, but I think that the 2 games that probably, like, if you were just to ask me which ones meant the most to me, would be Super Smash Bros. Brawl, specifically because that was the Smash Brothers that we had when I was in college, and so that was the one that we played, and the first Mario Maker, because I love platformers, and finally having the ability to like make a Mario level without needing to learn a programming engine satisfied all of my years of
set Matt free.
Yeah. I mean, all of my years of loving Mario games and then doing little level creators and different Flash games and stuff. But I do have one other favorite video game, and it's a Flash platformer because I really love Flash platformers, and it's called I Loved Her, But She Was a Zombie.
That is good.
I just really love that game. It's a really good platformer.
I don't think I know that one.
Yeah, it's on Addicting Games. It's on freeware. Like, just hunt it down.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, everybody knows I love the Final Fantasy series. That's an easy answer for me. I mean, I have like 7 of the different titles on here because those are just, different. Those are just like mean so much in my life and like different times that I played them. I can't just pick one, so I'll say honorable mentions. Also, I love Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but like that whole series. Chrono Trigger as well is a personal favorite. Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. The best of the Super Nintendo era RPG games by Square. that isn't Final Fantasy VI.
Feels like an attack. Feels a bit personal.
Strange, right?
Weird how that happens.
TBH, I've still never played Chrono Trigger, and I know it's good.
Well, yeah, we'll need to get you to play that on stream sometime because it's a real good time. Yeah, you would like it. I know that you would like it
for sure.
My answer, similar to Andrew's but different, is I'm a big fan of the Pokemon series. It's the first series that really got me. Yeah, big surprise, right? Kyle likes Pokemon. What? And to that, I'd say my favorite entries in the series are either the Fire Red, Leaf Green remakes or the Heart Gold, Soul Silver remakes. That was just like right when Pokemon was like firing on all cylinders. They weren't like trying to make the games just for kids or just for one sect of the audience. They were just making the games. And man, those remakes just really like take the joy that comes from the first entries and just kind of tweaks them just enough that they're more fun to play than the originals, in my opinion. But it's one of those.
Nice.
Honorable shout outs to Super Smash Bros. Melee and Mario Kart Double Dash, which is the best Mario
Double
Kart.
Dash.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I would love to see them I know we've talked about how that was the worst selling one, but I would love to see that like that whole process come back. That
When you and your partner on the car are just like vibing and kicking ass.
Now none of us were
were
friends when this game was like out and happening. Did you also in your group of friends go 1, 2, 3 switch and then you'd have to like hit the Z button together to like change?
Yeah.
If we switched, we generally decided like going
Who was
into
driver, who was gunner?
Yes.
I don't think when I played that game, I don't think I ever played it with other people.
Oh, you mean the best possible aspect of the game?
I mean, I should have clarified. I didn't play. I don't think I ever played like 2-person, 1 cart. It was always like I'm Team Koopa, your team, whoever the fuck mattered, your team Baby Mario or whatever.
Yeah.
Who was the best gunner and why was it Waluigi? Because he could kick so far.
It was Paratroopa because you could get the 3-shell special.
No, it was Waluigi because he had like a mile and a half of reach when you were punching people.
It was Baby Mario because he had the chain chomp.
Nope. I'm with Tom.
Pro strats was Baby Koopa and Waluigi, so you got big turtle shells and the bomb.
I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart 8 with Julie. And I've been playing like Baby Park, trying to remember like why this Baby Park isn't the Baby Park I remember, and it's the lack of giant banana peels and giant Bowser shells on the course that really take away all the magic that is Baby Park.
Yeah.
This isn't a question, but Mario Kart 8 was the first game that I actually like played and then put down the controller. I'm like, this is too fast. It's too fast. It's the first game that's made me legitimately feel old. Where I'm like, it's too fast. There's too many colors. I can't. I don't know where to look.
It's
know.
Very colorful.
Yeah,
there is a lot to unpack visually.
I did that the first time I played. Once I was like in one of the like flipped upside down stages. I was like, oh, this is too much. This is too much. And then I played it more.
Barfy as hell.
I got a good hang of it now, but.
Like the Wii version, the Wii one, I only played while drinking because we'd play like the drinking game with Mario Kart. Yeah, and so maybe that was the issue that was the last one I played, and I didn't like ease into this one. But I played this one, and I was like, I can't. I'm done. I have to not to.
Yeah, that tracks. So we'll keep right along with Zach Hicks' line of questioning. What is your favorite arc of comic books? Then, what's your favorite comic book story? Do you have a favorite comic book story?
I'll do the real easy one. Talking since we did the flavor text for the whole battle world for Marvel leading to all this multiverse nonsense. I think that's probably one of my favorite stories since I did so much research over it, and I know that's where the Marvel universe is going. It's really, really cool to just read about all these different alternative universe superheroes and how they're all gonna meld together and how we're going to get wild things potentially like the Council of Reeds, like every Reed Richards from every universe who meets together in a pocket dimension to solve all the problems.
Stupid.
If we get a like a John Krasinski Council of Reeds on the big screen,
Right?
I'll just die such a happy comic book nerd at that point.
Yeah, and it's very like, and I mean, now that we've got the most recent Marvel updates where we're going to have this like 3-act story of WandaVision, Spider-Man, whatever this next one is going to be called, with the word home in it, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I'm just excited to see what those things are, and now that I did the research over it, I think that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two. One is the probably like around the second compendium arc of The Walking Dead. The first prison arc of The Walking Dead is very, very good. And as much as I love the show and I talk about it all the time, the comics are phenomenal.
The prison arc was brutal.
Yes, yeah. The prison arc was like, it was like hard to read at points.
It breaks Rick. I mean,
yeah.
When Lori gets sniped with the baby.
So that one is number one, and then number two is Marvel Bullet Points, which is really similar to the Marvel What If series. It was under Marvel Knights in like the mid 2000s, and the basic rundown is what happens in the Marvel universe if Dr. Abraham Erskine is killed before Steve Rogers is injected with the super soldier serum. So instead of Captain America, Steve Rogers becomes Iron Man, Peter Parker becomes the Hulk, Reed Richards becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and like Bruce Banner, or Stephen Strange, and Tony Stark are also there. And it's exactly like What If. It's just a big old dominoes fall in a different direction, and what does that look like with all of these characters and powers that you know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mine's a much newer entrant, but I recently, earlier this year, got into a bunch of X-Men comics, and I read the last year's X-Men run. It was like late last year, early this year. It's the House of X, Powers of X dual run. That arc is so cool and different, and the storytelling approach that they took to it was so unlike anything that I had seen in a comic.
Is that the one with Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean in like a thruple? Is that the one? Is that that one?
I think that happened before.
That happened earlier. Okay.
This is okay. So basically, the 2018 run of X-Men essentially killed off the entire band of mutants.
Gotcha.
Like they kind of ran themselves into a wall, and they're like, we keep killing everybody, and then
we can't keep rebooting the franchise.
Exactly. And they brought Cyclops back, and Cyclops was like fucking Cable now, because it's like he's also Cable, but Cyclops, but he's Cable-clops. I don't know. It was a whole thing.
Cable-clops.
Yeah. He was just like, I'm Cyclops, but I've been dead. And it was just kind of nonsense. So they're just like, all right, fuck it. And they rebooted it all again, but it was very much What If. And it's like, okay, what if none of the X-Men ever happened? And instead, we basically, the secret spoiler is Moira McTaggart is a mutant. And Moira McTaggart is the most powerful mutant. She's kind of Dr. Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Basically, she has the power to reincarnate, but she remembers her past lives. So she's got like her whole life is a rewind mechanic. So they go through the like 10 lives of Moira McTaggart.
Oh, okay.
And it's Moira McTaggart basically like her first life is the entire run of the X-Men, right? And then it's like she dies and it's like failure. Game over. So she reboots herself again, and she meets a young Charles Xavier, and they go through the whole thing. But she has all of the knowledge. Whoa. So like they go, it's so fucking cool. So they go through all these alternate storylines, and basically it's like Moira McTaggart's like, I've lived 9 lives, and every single life has ended in mutants being hunted to the ends of the earth.
Wow.
It's like the only thing that we can do is get the fuck out of here. So the entire mutant population, they just get the fuck out and they build a new planet, and it's awesome. And everyone's like, cool. Yeah, Magneto and Professor Xavier, they agree on their differences, and they start this like entire like basically like they seek asylum on this other planet, and they take all the mutants with them. and it's just like and then now X-Men is now just like all of the X-Men on this different planet.
Nice.
It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. If you're at all interested in reading X-Men, I highly recommend it. And it the nice thing about a reboot is like it doesn't take any prior knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have a lot of answers to this. I really like the Flashpoint arc in DC. I'm trying to think of some other good ones I like. I really like Joss Whedon's run on X-Men from the like early to mid 2000s. John Hickman's run on Fantastic Four from around the same time. The Blackest Night arc in Green Lantern's really good.
That's super good.
That's a good one, yeah.
All favorites of mine, but I think my standout, and I think I'm going to talk about it again later in this same episode, and I've mentioned it before, is All-Star Superman. It's Grant Morrison doing a 12-issue arc of like Superman's greatest hits. It's a nice contained story. It starts and ends in those 12 issues. It doesn't like someone doesn't pick it up after and continue the story. But it's just like it's Superman distilled down to what makes Superman awesome, and it's the one I keep rereading and coming back to because it's just so good. So yeah, we've got one more from in this kind of string of questioning from Zach Hicks, and this can be nice and quick. What's your favorite video game soundtrack?
I don't know if I've talked about this or not. I think if I'm not answering Gino's Woods because that's just a very good hit. Gino's Woods is just very good. Aquatic Ambiance from Donkey Kong.
Ambiance is amazing.
That is so good. And there have been so many good remakes of it that make it sound like a real piece of like just beautiful classical like music. So I don't know. I give a lot of credit to Rare for just really nailing that with Donkey Kong forever ago.
David Wise.
Huh?
David Wise. David Wise was he came back and did, I believe he did the soundtrack for DKC Returns Tropical Freeze, which is also a very good game.
I also forgot to mention in the last section that another personal favorite hero is Hobgobbler. Remember when the Hobgoblin
version of Hobgoblin?
Yeah, from Earth 8311. Just throwing it out there.
That was a good one.
If we're talking video game song, I would say Wooded Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey. But favorite video game soundtrack altogether is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4.
Yeah,
there you go. That's
Tony Hawk Pro Skater A number.
Yeah,
it's going to be that answer.
Yeah, but specifically 4. It's definitely 4.
Got it. Not to sound like a broken record, but Final Fantasy. I listen to Final Fantasy soundtracks on the regular. Odyssey, I think Super Mario Odyssey just as a whole has an awesome soundtrack. It's like one of the best. Also Chrono Trigger and Persona 5. And shout out to Undertale. The Undertale soundtrack is also very good.
Undertale's very good.
Yep.
Mine isn't the most original answer. I don't listen to a ton of video game music like the others do, but I always come back to the Legend of Zelda series, and specifically the Wind Waker soundtrack just really does it for me. Especially that like they do that like folk Celtic like intro variation on the main Zelda theme. Just gets me every time.
I will fuck with a redo of Dragon Roost Island. Any day.
Yep. Dragon Roost Island is a bop.
That whole soundtrack just time and time again does it for me. I had a summer I was running a lot on one of the Great Lakes, and I would make sure I timed my run to coincide with one of the like boat themes from Wind Waker when I ran along the coast, because it's so good. Okay, so our next question comes once again from Tom Zalatni. What powered quote-unquote superhero do you think is the most realistic? They kind of specified this to me. It's not which hero is the most realistic. Like Batman, a rich guy with money running around, is probably the most realistic superhero that will arrive in our world. But like, what power do you most believe?
I mean, I don't know if this is a cheater answer, but I'm prone to think someone like Blue Beetle from the DC universe is good, because I believe they get hit with like alien tech and kind of get Iron Man abilities.
Yeah.
You know, like not to, because I feel like cheating would be answering the question saying Iron Man, because that's
Yeah,
what you just
like-
kind of just said with Batman. But
Nanotech,
yeah, like, you know, some random person finds alien tech and is like, I now have magic powers, everyone. Like, here I am. Like, that could be announced tomorrow, and we'd all just be like, oh shit, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, like, I guess that's the thing we're dealing with now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anybody with like real hypnosis powers feels pretty believable. Scarecrow from DC comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
As somebody who is like pretty believable. Yeah, I think that's my answer. I think Scarecrow from the Batman series is my answer.
I'm gonna say Daredevil, and it's not because of radioactive goo going in eyes, but the idea that like people, like somebody doesn't feel fear, like that, we know that exists, right? That is a chemical imbalance in your brain. We also know that like people absolutely have extrasensory, like some sort of extrasensory perception. It is also scientifically proven that if you lose one sense, the other senses will be heightened. So I think like the majority of Daredevil without the like radioactive part of it feels fairly believable and possible.
That's good. That's kind of similar to mine, but different. Mine are any of the like ESP telepath powers. That to me is most like could be out in our world now and secret. Then the other one is like the bone claws side of Wolverine's powers. That's another one I could see like a like any of the more like believable any of the less out there X-Men mutations. I'm willing to buy just as like oh yeah, of course, like this guy was born with claws. That tracks, like and then like the heightened senses that go along with it. The super fast regeneration, the healing factor is the part that is unbelievable to me, but that's why we read comics, because it's fun and unbelievable. Our next question comes from Whomstradamus on our Discord, Tommy, and this is written like someone who has read and defended a lot of doctoral theses.
Wild.
We grew up with a lot of the culturally relevant video game and comic franchises that went from geeky to pop culture in our lifetime. If you were going to introduce someone to this world, where would you think is the best place to start? In parentheses, think of this like you're the cool uncle for a niece or nephew.
Yeah, when I read this question, I just thought about how every day after school for years, I would go home and watch the Spider-Man cartoon. And I think that I would still stick with Spider-Man now, though obviously those cartoons haven't like aged, not like they've aged poorly, but they're just not as nice to watch anymore, and they're still kind of goofy, like, because all of that stuff back then is just very campy. So I think my answer would still be Spider-Man, because Spider-Man ends up being that hero who is a kid trying their best, doing what they can to like improve the world around them, and I would probably point my nieces and nephews to either probably some of the more recent Spider-Man cartoons, because I know they have ones where he's still either a kid or a teenager, or something like Into the Spider-Verse. Obviously that movie was just a really good bottled version of this is Spider-Man. Like, this is what Spider-Man does. So I think that's my answer.
There are a lot of different Spider-Men, but they all do this.
Yeah, every last one of them is just trying their best given what they can.
Yeah, I think that my answer is I had to think about this one. This is a really good question. I think my answer is the first Avengers movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I just remember the first Avengers movie being such a like rush of serotonin the whole time, because it was so many cool people, and it was a really clear-cut plot, because they had built to the Avengers movie, but I think at that point there was still a big question as to like, all right, how far can we really sail this ship? And it turns out you can sail it the whole goddamn way to the sunset. But when the first Avengers movie came out, I remember it feeling contained, you know? And I remember feeling like you could walk into that movie without having seen all of the ones that preceded it. And in the first couple of minutes get like, okay, this is Captain America, this is Iron Man, this is the Hulk.
That's a very good answer for that reason. In every character is summed up very quickly. Like, cool, you got Nick Fury's deal, you got Captain America's deal, you got Thor and Iron Man's deal. Like, and it hinted that there were like other movies you could go watch to get their full story, but you got their deal, and then we moved on, and we didn't linger on it too long.
I think that Avengers 1 out of the whole MCU is the only ensemble movie that you can jump in at. I don't know that there is any other MCU ensemble movie that you can watch with nothing else and have any like full semblance of what's going on, but Avengers 1 feels that way. So that's what I'm going with.
Maybe also Guardians 1, but that's different it's a different ensemble than Avengers 1.
For sure.
I'll answer this a little bit different because I agree with both these for comics. So I'll talk a little bit about video games. So if somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, like, what's going on in video games?" I think the best example I would give is tell them to play Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely like the perfect example of what games, the modern era of games, are doing, capable of. It's kind of like an intro course into here's everything that you could do in a video game. Like, you get a little bit of action, you get a little bit of platforming, you get some puzzle solving, you get some RPG, you get some storytelling, and it doesn't like
some open-ended sandbox shenanigans. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. You get survival mode. Like you get a little bit of everything. And it's basically like, hey, what did you like most about that? Cool. If you like that, go play this game. There's more of that, I mean, I think that there's no better way just to get into modern video games than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. If I'm doing a video game, I think, Andrew, you're right with like Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, maybe. One of the Switch games I think is a great introduction to gaming in general. I'd also throw probably Minecraft into that mix. And not a game I've played, but definitely like very easy for a new person to pick up, let you do kind of anything, and very indicative of what gaming is today. If I'm going to introduce someone into comics, I'm going to be the only DC person here and say I'd start a niece or nephew on the DC animated universe. That includes like the Batman animated series, but I'd probably start them on something like Static Shock or the Justice League portion of that franchise. They throw so many characters at you that like you get a nice like depth of what comic books are, but it's all in easy to digest Cartoon Network format, like summed up in 15-minute plot lines too.
I'd even throw the earliest seasons of Teen Titans. I loved watching that.
Yeah.
OG Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A brief aside here. Is it ridiculous to say that Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey are as big of touchstones in gaming as Super Mario 64 and Ocarina were?
Yeah. I absolutely. People were saying that when they came out. No, I think people were saying that when they came out, and it still stands true. I mean, those are just as important to, I think, modern era gaming, as those other games were.
Hypothetically, what would you say to a 33-year-old that owns a Switch and hasn't played either of those two titles?
Fucking play one of them.
Yeah, I have them both. I have the cartridges. I'll let you borrow them.
I didn't say it was me. I'll tell my friend.
You have 5 here's what I'm going to answer it this way. One, you have 5 days basically where you're doing nothing. I know that for a fact. You could probably get through most of Breath of the Wild. I, in fact, had in your same exact situation got through Super Mario Odyssey in 2 days flat because my wife was out of town and I did nothing except sit on my couch and play Super Mario Odyssey. So you could probably get through Super Mario Odyssey and like get a chunk of the way through Breath of the Wild.
Matt, I'll put you in contact with my friend.
Okay, yeah. That you tell
his
your
friend
friends
who's totally not
talk
Todd.
to my friends people.
Make sure your friend also reminds you to play Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, definitely advice to that friend. Play at least one of those games.
No, I'll tell them. They're great.
Now when you're telling your friend, make sure you tell your friend to remind you, Todd. Don't try to complete it. There's no sense in getting all 999 moons or 99 or 999 Korok seeds.
I heard that's when the real game starts.
That's when the real game starts. Yes.
And then our last question for our shitty opinions section comes from friend of mine, Green 8 Ball on all social media, Discord. I know him as Jason. If we could revive one dormant or dead series from the grave, which would each of us pick? And why is it Mother or the Earthbound series?
Well, I can't say Super Mario RPG since I already said it, even though that is the answer. But I am just going to agree and keep moving. I would love to see a remastering of Earthbound, the Mother series in general. So there's that one. I've still not played Mother 3, and I know Andrew's talked about it a lot. I know it's out there. I should probably. I'll tell my friend that they should also play that.
That one will be a little harder to get a hold of. Literally, like your friend can get the cartridges of Breath of the Wild. Fucking play Breath of the Wild. Like just stop talking about it.
Yeah, I've told them. I told them. They know.
I just had to like turn around and look at my game shelf. My knee-jerk reaction is Bloodwake, but that's a meme.
Shit, yeah.
But my honest answer, I think I would kill for a 21st century reboot of Rampage, the arcade game, because I love the Rampage games. And then what was the other one that I just saw and thought that would be good as shit?
Is it Sheep?
It's
gotta
not
be
Sheep. No, SSX. I would take a new SSX game.
SSX would be
I can
really
still see the preview for SSX Tricky in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those games were very good.
And then honorable mention to Banjo-Kazooie, but that's like Mother 3. Like everybody wants Banjo-Kazooie.
My answer is Metroid. How about Metroid?
Fuck yeah, Metroid.
Same.
Well, isn't the 25th anniversary next year? Isn't that
of what?
Of like the first of the first Metroid? I think that's the rumor that they're going to announce a big to do with it.
Well, they had and scrapped and restarted Metroid Prime 4 now too. So they hit the wall.
They have a
Cyberpunk.
logo.
They hit the wall. Cyberpunk did and was like, "Oh, this game's not finished. But they backed down from that wall rather than try to charge through it."
Has Nintendo had a flagship like shooter since like Metroid? Aside from I mean they have
Splatoon.
Well, aside from Splatoon, but I mean they haven't done like a flagship. This is our FPS. It's
like
only our FPS.
Shooter?
Yeah.
Even then, like Metroid Prime was not a Call of Duty. Like it wasn't a Call of Duty on Nintendo.
Reagan's not committing you to do space crimes.
There was a Wii U exclusive called Zombies U that was supposed to be like a big flagship series that did not take off because it is not good.
I heard it was very good, just no one played it.
I played it and it was fine.
Okay.
What I've heard is it was good for a launch game because launch games, it's like they're normally like 7 out of 10. So it's like it's a launch game.
Yeah.
It's in the box.
Right.
My answer to this question is F-Zero because they haven't made an F-Zero game since I think Game Boy
GX.
Advance.
Yeah. No, there was the GameCube one. Fuck F-Zero GX. That game was so fucking hard.
Which I think is why they haven't made one since.
Yeah.
That one was impossible to play.
So hard.
Well, because the Game Boy Advance one was like perfect. Like you could not make a better F-Zero game than the Game Boy Advance one.
You give me a really tight F-Zero game on the Switch, I'll play that all day, baby. Give me more F-Zero. Give me more Captain Falcon. Show me your moves.
We need a Captain Falcon, like remember Star Fox Adventures dinosaur player? We need a Captain Falcon Adventures.
F-Zero Adventures.
Yeah.
It's thinking about Captain Falcon being able to free roam in like his ship is so stupid. But also,
there was a cartoon. There was like a 1 or 2 season long cartoon that was where Captain Falcon was like he was a bounty hunter and he was the main character and it was weird. But there was a cartoon on WB
and he had a staff and he fought Triceratops.
Yep.
It gave us the favorite NPC Crystal.
So that wraps up our shitty opinions. And we're going to close out our mailbag episode with a lightning round. So we'll ask these questions. We may or may not say who they're from because it's the lightning round, baby. We don't got time for that. Our first question does come from Whomstradamus. If you could work out with any member of the Avengers, who would you pick, and why would it be Mark Ruffalo?
It's not Mark Ruffalo. It is Nick Fury. He's going to teach me sweet spy shit.
Chris Hemsworth, because if I look as good as Chris Hemsworth, then I'm the better version of Chris Hemsworth.
Jeremy Renner, so he can work out in this sweet farm.
Paul Rudd, because Paul Rudd, I think, has the same vibe on working out that I do.
Now, we can all agree we're going to hang out with Mark Ruffalo.
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just like
Yes,
hang out
yeah.
with Mark Ruffalo.
Okay, lightning round. Who is the sexiest debater?
Will from Blasting Off Again when he was here that one episode because of his accent. Everyone's nodding on the call. You can't
Yeah,
hear
we
that.
all nodded.
Sure, why not?
We weren't prepared for Todd to bring in a guest debater to this answer.
Well, all right.
Player
That's what it
5 has
was.
entered the game.
Yeah, you derailed me. Rami Malek, because every time he comes into a debate, he wins.
There's one debater that we've talked about. There's sweet, sweet dumper.
It's not Todd, it's Todd's dumper.
It's specifically Todd's dumper.
Specifically Todd's dumper. I will second Todd's sweet dumper for
It's a
lightning
vote.
round.
It's a vote for Will. It's a vote for Rami Malek. And 2 for Todd's
votes.
dumper.
All
Two
right,
for
motion
Todd's
passes.
Todd's
There it
dumper.
is.
This question comes from a very mean Andrew's wife. Matt, do you have a library card? Do you
Well,
ever
no,
end up getting that
we
library
each get
card?
to answer, and the answer is no.
I've had a library card since the year 2000, and I still have that library card.
Okay, well, let Andrew and Kyle answer.
The real answer is Matt took his library card and ripped it up on stream, and everybody saw it.
My answer is Jess. I watched Matt burn his library card like a Vietnam draft notice. And,
To stick it to the man who's the
to
library.
stick it to the man.
Of every bit we've ever
Oh, I
had,
love it so much.
this one is the
The
worst.
worst.
Oh, and like it's so good because Matt is wholeheartedly the person who would go to war to fund social services like libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So Matt protesting a library is so good. Oh man.
This also comes from Jess, Andrew's wife. Do you guys have any gaming New Year's resolutions? Do you have any gaming goals you would like to accomplish in 2021?
No, but optimistically, I super look forward to a post-pandemic world where I get to play video games in rooms with my friends again. That was just such like a crux of who I am, and I've not been able to do that. And boy, that is a thing that I look forward to.
Yeah, I'm going to finish Breath of the Wild, which I haven't done.
Wait, but my friend needs to borrow it.
Yeah, because, you get to a point in a game that's so good, and you're like, I don't really want this to end. And so you just kind of roam the world for eternity. That's where I'm at
I
in
did
Breath
that
of the
too.
Wild. So I'll...
I've roamed a lot of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I've also not finished the game.
So 2021 is the year that I finally take on the last beast and finish Calamity Ganon.
So, I'm the only one who's actually fought Calamity Ganon. That's wild.
I have fought Calamity Ganon on somebody else's game. I just haven't done it on my
Okay.
save file.
That's
I'll
fair.
let you know when my friend does.
I have the DLC, but I never finished the DLC, and I can't because I'm one of the 5 people, including Kyle, who bought Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and like I'm not gonna hook up my Wii U to play Breath of the Wild. I would much rather just spend $80 to buy it again on Switch.
That's what I did.
My gaming New Year's resolution, my serious one is I have been wanting to get into the world of speedrunning just for fun and to do something else on stream that doesn't require all 4 of us. So I've kind of been like thinking about it for a long time, and I think it would be really fun to get into speedrunning. I don't know yet what game. I thought for a while that could be like Bloodborne, which would be really hard, but I don't know. I know.
Ooh.
I also like mildly considered like Hades would be a fun one to get into speedrunning.
Have you watched a speed run on Hades?
I have.
Wild.
I have. Those are wild. So I don't know yet. It would be basically like we're, trying to find some more reasons to get on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/debatethiscast, because I really enjoy it. And it's super fun to interact with people that way.
Similar to Andrew's answer, I've been looking for an excuse to do something with all of the years of Magic the Gathering I've played, and I think streaming more of that is the way to do it. So mine is a very simple, I'd like to stream Magic more.
Ooh, wait, I have one more. Sorry, I have one more. I finally, for the first time in my life, bought Perfect Dark for the N64,
Nice.
which I have
Shit.
never played, and I'm going to play the campaign of Perfect Dark.
You
and
never
I'm very
played.
excited.
It's rough.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not easy.
yeah.
Like it plays like ass.
Yeah,
It looks
well,
like ass.
Listen, I have a whole collection of N64 games.
What are
I'm
your
ready.
thoughts on playing GoldenEye but like worse?
Well,
Yeah.
At
so
least
that's,
graphically.
That's the thing is like I have GoldenEye and I've beaten GoldenEye more times than I can count, but I've never played Perfect Dark, so I have to.
That game though, like it is so charming and the story is so weird. The voice acting is outrageous. Like you're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely
Isn't
love
it like one of the best rated games on the N64 though?
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah.
for
I mean,
sure.
it's you've heard me say this a lot on this show. Like none of those games hold up today.
No.
and,
Yeah,
and like I love the shit out of Perfect Dark. I probably played that game 3 times over. Like I played on every level and every difficulty. I mean, I loved that game, and it is super weird. But it just like it looks insane today. Like just
Yeah.
watch a playthrough of it, watch a speedrun of it. It's ridiculous.
I think it was the first game to have bot multiplayer. Like you could play multiplayer with bots
Yes.
in it, which was what I did as a lonely child.
Same, absolutely
Yeah,
same.
right?
Yep.
You
Yeah.
put the good bots on your team and the bad bots on the other team.
Yeah, you could get it like up to like because if you had the expansion pack,
Mhm.
you could get up to like 16 bots and take the Farscape sniper, the X-ray sniper,
Scope in
and just like
immediately,
just like pop off people.
play God.
Oh my god, that game rules.
All right, guys. That's our mailbag. Our mailbag is empty, except for this one last question.
So
Uh-oh.
stupid.
We've got one last question to round out our mailbag episode, and it is a very simple fuck, marry, kill. Captain America, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider.
This is easy. The exact reverse of how you read them. Ghost Rider and I were throwing down. Spider-Man and I, we're going to have a lovely, wonderful life together. And I'm killing Captain America. I'm taking his shield. And in every storyline, he always comes back better anyway, or from a different timeline. So it's great.
Fuck, marry, kill. I need a piece of Captain America's sweet American ass. You can't kill Ghost Rider, so I guess we're getting married. And Spider-Man's been overrated since he came out anyway, so he can go.
Marry Spider-Man, fuck Captain America. Nope. Wait. Yeah, fuck Captain America. Kill Ghost Rider because fuck Ghost Rider.
Fuck, marry, kill. It is fuck Spider-Man, marry Captain America because he went back in time to be married, and that's just so adorable to me and wholesome. And I got to kill Ghost Rider because that's the third option, and I don't really have an opinion on Ghost Rider. So
see, you're missing it. It is a Ghost Rider in the streets, penance stare in the sheets situation.
Excellent. Excellent.
Very, very good. So everyone, thank you for debating with us here in 2020. This is gonna close out 2020 for us. You can follow along with all the arguments in 2021 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast, or get on our website at debatethiscast.com. You can also make your New Year's resolution to follow more content creators online by checking us out on Patreon at DebateThisCast. If you like the show and you need something to talk about while you're avoiding COVID with your family, bring us up. Get your family listening to us. We're a wholesome family show.
A wholesome family show that just did a fuck, marry, kill of Captain America, Spider-Man, and the Ghost Rider.
So until next time, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Todd, still thinking about Tacklebox Tony in 2020. Thomas.
I'm Matt, my lovely lady dumps Cole.
And I'm Andrew. Todd had dumps like a truck. Thighs like what? Henderson.
Good.
And we're saying thank you for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can meet us in 2020 and fight us behind the swing sets, nerds. And if you think we're wrong, you can meet us in
Future swing
21
sets.
and fight us behind the future swing sets, nerds.
Future.
Remember the one time I made Matt's nickname Wiki Wild Wild West, James West, Desperado, Rough Rider, No You Don't Want Nana? I do.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.